We have wildfire response that require careful preparation, cooperation, and quick thinking. The men and women of the Florida Forestry Service are the best in the world, and they do not receive the pay or recognition they have earned. We are working on that this year in the legislature. In addition to constant training and readying critical equipment like what you see here behind us, the Florida Forest Service prepares for wildfire season with fire. Florida has a proud tradition of being the nation's leader in prescribed burn. On average, Florida treats around 2 million acres per year with prescribed fire. This reduces the fuel loads in our forests so that when a fire does happen, it's much less dangerous to the people, their homes, and the forest. But the time for prescribed burn is over, and now it's time for wildfire season. And while Florida is the lightning capital of the nation, arson, escaped yard debris burning are the two leading causes of wildfires in Florida. The wildfire that does not start is the one that does not have to be fought. Education and prevention are key in helping to reduce the number of human-caused fires. Prepare your home regularly by clearing your roofs and your gutters of debris. Prepare your yard by creating and maintaining a defensible space or buffer around your home. And be smart and vigilant if burning yard waste. And report a potential wildfire or suspicious arson activity to authorities. Thank you, and now we'll turn over to Rick Dolan, our newly announced Director of the Florida Forest Association.
Good morning. Rick Dolan, Director of the Florida Forest Service. We appreciate Commissioner Simpson and the tremendous support that we receive from his office. It's been a busy wildfire year so far. From January 1st through April 2nd, we've had 1,098 fires for 35,424 acres. These total include state, private, and federal lands. North Florida has received recent rainfall, and we're very thankful for that. However, a couple of weeks of dry conditions could change their fire activity significantly. Central and South Florida are extremely dry. The further south you go, the drier it is. Southwest Florida is the driest part of the state, around the Fort Myers area. Very dry right now. Lightning season is right around the corner, and wildfire activity in the state is expected to increase. Right now, we have additional aviation resources in the state. An air tanker base is set up in Lake City with 2 air tankers and a lead plane. They can respond to wildfires statewide. In addition to our Florida Forest Service aviation assets, our federal partners also have 4 helicopters stationed at a helibase in Ocala. According to the National Weather Service, the state is coming out of a La Nina and is in a neutral pattern through the end of May. Then we'll be shifting toward an El Nino pattern, which is predicted to bring additional rain to the state. So it's going to be fairly dry between now through the end of May. It's time to be wildfire ready, Florida. For more information on how to prepare your home and property for a wildfire, please visit www.bewildfirereadyfl.com. Thank you.
Okay, at this time we'll be happy to try to answer some questions if there are any. Yes.
Sounds like you guys are here today because you think you might see something coming on the horizon in current status.
When you look at a drought map of the state of Florida, as our director mentioned, we have very dry conditions all over the state. Near drought conditions are extremely dry, and anytime you have drought conditions and you have wind, and then you have as we've described here today, you have backyard fires or arson, and then lightning will start. In the next few weeks, we'll start getting those thunderstorms rolling in, and those are our challenges. So, we're just asking everyone to be very vigilant. We realize this has already been a very busy season, and obviously we hope to mitigate that through a lot of safety measures.
Do you feel confident that we have enough equipment to handle what could be coming?
Through the years, yes, the answer is we will handle the job. Again, we have the best forestry firefighters and our local assets. Local first responders are the best in the country. We do this every year. They will get maxed out from time to time because of what we believe is coming. And that's why we're asking everybody to be so vigilant. We will do the job. The legislature in the last few years has been very gracious in the budget with new equipment. We're again asking the legislature this year for additional equipment. These fires are getting bigger as time goes on, and it's important that we can do our mitigation, with using fire to burn these forests, to get rid of all the forest material, the dry material. When you look at what happened with Ian, we have fuel on the ground. Michael, we've only cleaned up about half of that fuel. We're going to try to be very aggressive this coming year in getting rid of that fuel on the ground. And so we're working through that, but those are our challenges.
What are the most common ways that people end up starting forest fires, and can you be charged? What kind of charges can you face if you start?
Well, arson, clearly, you can be charged with, and that could, you could have, I believe you could get jail time for that. The reality is most people that start these fires are unintentional. They're backyard fires. They're the barbecue grill that wasn't put out. They're ambers that fly from there into our forests, or just yard trash, people burn in their backyards and it gets out into the forest. Those are the things we're saying to be extra vigilant on at this time. Put them out, use water hose, make sure they're all the way out. One spark can start a major fire, and we've seen that even in the last few months.
You said, I think, that the wildfire season started early. How much earlier did it start, and how concerning is that?
Well, because of the dry conditions we face in the first 4 or 5 months of Florida, we've had numerous fires already, and so wildfire season, we put out many fires, hundreds of fires already, or maybe 1,000 fires already this year. That's a very high number, and so probably 6-8 weeks ago. But fire season is anytime you have very dry conditions and wind and a spark, and so it could be any time in the year, but certainly this time of the year is when we're more concerned. Okay.
For the forestry service, real quick, can you talk about what it is for, obviously it's bad for the state to have these sort of things happening in the property, but your guys are in harm's way. Talk about the job they do when they're out in these forests. It's gotta be dangerous.
So I'm very proud of our agency. We have, as the commissioner said, the best of the best in the country. And every fire that's prevented is one that our people don't have to go and try to put out and put them in harm's way unnecessarily. It's a very dangerous job, and they do excellent work. But it is very dangerous what they do, and we just want people to be very careful and cautious right now because of the conditions that we have in the state. Essentially, from Ocala south, it's very dry for this time of year.
Talk about the wear and tear that it puts on your people as well. I mean, it's a pretty good distance, a lot of forest to cover.
So, these folks are very resilient. I'll tell you, they're the best of the best, and they do an excellent job. But you're right. Beginning of wildfire season, they're all fresh and ready to go. But when you get 2 or 3 months into it, day in and day out, it does break you down a little bit. And so adequate time off is really important for these folks to keep their bodies right and their mind right.
How many do you have?
So we have about 1,200 employees with the Florida Forest Service. About 600 of those are fire certified people.
How much different is fighting a forest fire than a house fire? I know it's different, obviously, but just kind of put it in perspective for folks.
Well, with a forest fire, you have ever-changing weather conditions, and that's what influences the fire behavior is typical, of fuel moisture, wind, dispersion, humidity. There's all kinds of factors that kind of dictate the fire behavior on any given day.
And crews stay on the scene, until the last visible smoke is gone? It's not just like fire being out.
So we try to stay on scene until the fire is at least contained, and what that means is there's no forward spread at that point, and it's safe enough to leave. And then we go into what's called the mop-up phase, where we use brush trucks and engines to go in and kind of cool the perimeter to try to give us a better chance of holding the fire in its containment lines.
You said we're in extremely dry conditions right now. Does that mean a fire could spread more quickly than normal?
Yes, and the ignitions are, the fires can start a lot easier as well with the dry conditions.
How quickly can we go from like a couple acres to 100,000 acres?
It just depends on the day, the fire activity, where location. There's a lot of different factors, so it's really hard to kind of pinpoint, what a fire is going to do. It's location and weather driven.
Has the one in Polk that you guys talked about, has the cause been determined?
I think it's still under investigation at this point.
Thank you for coming out, and we look forward to as many of our citizens hearing this message as they can. We want to keep our firefighters safe, but we want to keep everyone safe. You know, these are people's houses that will be burnt down, people's, property that will be burnt, and we look forward to hopefully getting a little rain here in the near future. Thank you for coming out today.